from Shanghai to the world. I'm Janine Jakob, your host, founder of the consulting company Full Potential Partners in Shanghai and a motivational community called Monday Morning Motivation. Today, I'm very, very excited to have Deano with us. And I would say, Deano, how about you quickly tell us a little bit about who you are, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Janine. And that's a very interesting and one of the most difficult questions that I can answer, because I believe who I am is always evolving. But if I must say, for the purpose of the listeners, my name is Deano Delpleash, and I'm a high performance coach, and I'm from a beautiful island called St. Vincent. So as I said, answering that question is one of the most difficult things for me personally, because I think Deano is always evolving. But for the purpose of the show and the listeners, I'm a high performance coach, and I'm from the beautiful island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is one of the smallest islands in the Caribbean, and it literally has a population of about 110,000 people. And
Wow.
yeah. And I take myself as I'm on a mission to make leadership sexy. One of my mission, one of the things that have been driving me throughout my life is helping those around me, transform into the highest performing version of themselves. And I think that's one of the things that brings me a lot of passion and desire to show up every day. And yeah, that's more or less about, who I am in a nutshell. Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, Shanghai has about, some people say, 24 million inhabitants in comparison to your island, St. Vincent. So
Yeah.
what is your story? How did you end up in this amazing city, Shanghai?
Very, very long story, but I'll try my best to cut it short. I think it was
Elevator
fate.
pitch. Just kidding.
I'll say it was fate, because when I was 18 years old, I had this desire to leave my island to go and study. I did really well academically on the island, and I got a scholarship to go to the United States, but that was 60% covering the fee. And at that time, my parents could not have afforded the 40% of that scholarship. So the alternative was to get a loan. And to get a loan to go to a university in America, my best option would have had to get a loan in a bank in America. So I had a few families there, but that didn't pan through, and I was so disappointed. And usually on Saturdays, I usually run this youth group where, train these netballers. Netball is one of the sports on the island. And this one Saturday, I felt so down and out, I decided not to go. And I was walking past my brother's room, and there was a newspaper on the floor. And I don't usually read newspapers, to be honest, but that day I had nothing else to do. I felt down about the opportunity not being able to go to the US. And I went and I read that newspaper, and there in the middle of the newspaper was full scholarship to China. And I'm like,
Ooh.
I know that's like, and I didn't know anything about China. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is what I've been asking for. And reading through the document, I felt a bit discouraged because of the college that I went to. The college that I went to didn't really have the kind of qualification to go to a university, because I did more technical oriented stuff. So I was a bit discouraged and didn't believe I could have got the opportunity. But something just tell me apply and just see what happens. And magically, I applied. A few months later, I got accepted, and I traveled to China for the first time in 2012, coming to Shanghai, this wonderful, big, new, old, modern, always evolving city.
Wow,
Yeah,
we're happy to have you here.
yeah, thank you.
So you just mentioned that you normally don't read newspapers, but there it was about the
Yeah,
scholarship to China. Do you
yeah.
believe in like destiny, or how we call it in Chinese, Yuan Fen?
Hmm, destiny. I do believe to an extent. I believe that there is always this thing inside of us that is pulling us in a particular direction. Some people would call it destiny, some people call it fate, and others have another name for it. And I don't know what specifically it is, but there's always this driving force that is always pushing us and pulling us. Yeah. So yeah, and that's what I believe. Yeah.
Now, currently, you and I were both in lockdown in Shanghai, not
Yeah, yeah.
2020, but 2022.
22.
That's the
Yeah.
new thing nowadays. That's a
Mm.
trend here. And I'd
Oh.
love to ask you, like, how are you and your girlfriend keeping up in a lockdown currently? How long
Mm.
have you been locked down? What is the lockdown like for you? Although we're in the same city, but it may
Mm.
be
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Well, initially going into the lockdown, it wasn't as troublesome for me in particular, but the biggest struggle was the change in routine for me. I usually I like walking, yeah, like taking my walks in the morning. So that affect my routine personally, and it kind of made me a bit demotivated, in all honesty. But as a coach, we all have coaches, and I have that support system available to me, and was able to rearrange stuff in a way where I'm making the most out of the lockdown. At the current moment, I haven't been keeping count of how long we have been in lockdown, because I like to focus more on my flow, and how things are going with what I have to do and what I need to get done. But one of the things that we have been doing personally, my girlfriend and I, is to establish strict routines in the morning. So that way we know we're not gonna get to go outside, but we're gonna enjoy this period of time together in the morning. So that has been helping, keeping physical, meditating, praying, and just finding fun time to just sit and talk, as well as creating opportunities to reach out to individuals in the building itself. Like there's
Mm.
this weird thing with me. I'm a taekwondoist, so I'm a bit attached to the Korean culture. So as a taekwondoist, I always have this innate attraction towards Korean guys, because when I see Korean guys, I think of my art, yeah. And then there's some Korean guys in the building. So she was talking about this one guy. So whenever she's talking about a Korean guy, she'll tell me. So I'll be asking her about questions as if she's trying to hook us up on a date. So I tell her, I told her that what she should do, she should invite him for lunch, tell him to come and have lunch with us. So that was a really great idea. So we actually prepared lunch for one of our neighbors here, just for me to get to meet that individual. But in a sense, it actually shows or reminded me of how good it makes you feel when you're given, something. And it doesn't have to be something monetary, it could be something as small as a meal. And just that exchange of passing over something to somebody else. So yeah, we're trying to make the most of it. Yeah, we are in that process of getting food all the time, but it's a bit fun and it's a bit scary. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's a love and hate with the situation. Yeah.
Now, I'm actually curious. So, I mean, through food, we connect, right? Especially in
Yeah.
Chinese culture, to do business,
Mm,
we always have
mm,
our dinners with them and maybe get
yeah.
drunk with baijiu or so. But were you able to literally invite him to your home, or did you just give him the food? Because for most of us in lockdown, we cannot even leave the apartment.
Yeah. Well, what we try to invite him into our home, because we are in an apartment complex, so we are locked in our apartment. So we can move around, but as of
Mhm.
today, we can't actually. They kind of banned that. But a couple of days ago, we could have moved to other individual apartment. We actually just give them the food, because he said he was a bit dirty and he didn't want it to, made us smell his untidy manner.
That's funny. Wow, thanks for sharing. But I'm happy to see
Yeah,
that you and your girlfriend are fine and meeting some new neighbors. That is
yeah, yeah,
great. Now,
yeah.
I know that you have been studying here. You also had a full-time job. Now you have your own company. I would love to know, going back to whether it's your studies or in general in your life in Shanghai. What has been one of the most challenging times for you,
Mhm.
if it's okay for you to share this with us?
Yeah, most definitely. Well, initially I came to Shanghai to study Chinese language. So I spent my initial, say, 8 months in Shanghai. Then I went to Hangzhou. That's where I studied my major for about 4 years. Yeah. And I think one of my most difficult time was a period in 2015. And I can remember the feeling going through my body as if it's yesterday. I was there on the seventh floor of my school dormitory, and there was this one thought going through my head, and it's jump, Dina, jump, just get it over with. Yeah, you want to get rid of all the pain, and that was literally the first time in my life I have ever wanted to take my own life. I wanted to kill myself. Yeah, and it was one, it was a wake up call. Yeah, realizing that there's things in my life that I needed to change, that I needed to do differently. At that point in my life, I made some bad financial decisions, and I owed individuals money who I shouldn't have, as well as my relationship wasn't going well. And during that time, it was a winter, and there was no electricity even in our dorm, so it was cold.
Oh,
Yeah, and
wow.
that was a scary time for me personally. And one of the things that really gave me hope was some of the individuals that I admire today, like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown. I came across some of their videos on YouTube, being in that state of depression, I must say. I didn't accept it as depression then, but when I look back, I was depressed. Yeah, and I remember this one statement from Jim Rohn. He said, for things to get better for you need to get better. And at that point, I know that he was right, but I didn't know what to do to get better, to be honest. So what I did, I continued listening because these speakers made me feel better. Yeah, they made me feel hope, to be honest. Yeah, and there was the one quote that made things sink in for me was that I needed to take action if things
Mhm.
was going to change. And at that point, I made a commitment to myself that, okay, right now I'm feeling terrible. Right now I feel like all hope is lost and nothing is going to change. But I know one thing I can do, I can get up and move. And I made it a commitment to myself on that day. It was around September 2015 to get up at 5 a.m. every morning and go running. And around that time, it was say rainy in Hangzhou. And I remember some morning I'm going running and I'm crying, like I'm crying so hard. And it was good because there was no one there to see me. So I wasn't really caring about what's going on, but I was just feeling all that pain. And that pain more or less catapulted me to creating something very beautiful, which was what we once called the Spartans Healthy Lifestyle Community. I start literally running, then I start working out. I'm a taekwondo, so I was running and trying to train at the same time. And my
Okay.
friends noticed I was changing physically, and they were curious, like, what are you doing? Not knowing I was going through my own transformation. And just to cut a long story short, I started training my friends, their friends started coming, and then there was a big community on campus where I started training and coaching almost 1,000 young people around the city. And
Wow.
that was really an amazing, how to say, an amazing, unfortunate event in my life, yeah, personally. Yeah.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for sharing this with us here. Recently, also here with the lockdown, you hear a lot of like like suicidal thoughts, people going through a lot of mental
Mhm.
health
Mm.
issues. And I'm
Yeah.
happy that there was something positive, a gift in this
Yeah. Yeah.
very dark time, and that you have
Yeah.
overcome it and helping others later. I'm wondering, like here in China, or actually even in lots of other countries, we don't really talk about psychologists. I mean, the
Mm,
topic of mental health has increased a little bit, but have you
mm,
ever considered talking to a psychologist,
mm,
psychiatrist, or
mm,
what's your opinion about that? That people would reach out in such situations or other
mm,
challenges to these people?
mm. Well, I totally do recommend it. You know, at that point in my life, the concept of talking to a psychologist never really clicked. I had no knowledge of, mental health and how that affect people then. But the person who I've become now, I've exposed myself to knowledge, meaning books, speakers, seminars, and eventually getting a coach later on. Yeah, one of
Mm,
my coaching models is the use of neuro-linguistic programming, which is a lot of strategies and techniques that was modeled from the psychotherapy line of things. So I would
mm,
encourage individual, even though you believe you're sane right now, to have that person in your corner. And it's not a matter of, oh, when I'm depressed, then I'll get that individual. It's a matter of doing the work now so that you won't get to that point. Yeah, I believe it more in the preventative approach than in the reactive approach. Yeah, and that's the way how I approach my health as well. I don't necessarily get up every morning and work out because, I want to lose weight or I want to look sexy. No, I do that because I want to build my body to a point where I can prevent myself from getting ill or getting sick. And I think it's the same approach that we should use when it comes to our mind. Yeah.
mm. Prevention. And hey, here for all the ladies who are watching, I heard Dino has a six pack next to his knowledge and being an amazing coach. I should say now, come on, show it off, but I guess we want to stay professional here.
we keep that for the next episode.
Yes, exactly. Or maybe the takes at the end behind
Yeah,
the
yeah, maybe.
scenes.
Yeah. Stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing this. And I know you also, so after your studies, you actually had a full-time job before founding
Yeah.
your own company.
Mm.
So what shifted that you
Ooh.
decided you want to go away from that full-time job, and it was a
Yeah.
completely different job you did, a normal
Yeah.
job, and then suddenly, what?
Yeah.
You're becoming a coach? What happened?
I think this was also another stroke of fate. I must go back to that word of fate. And it was a unexpected expected stroke of fate. And let me explain. When I graduated in 2019, I did my master's in entrepreneurship. I wanted to start my own company. I want to turn my passion into a business. After running the Spartan community, I wanted to make that shift. So I began with, online fitness coaching. Eventually, it was offline. COVID happened. I did online fitness coaching. But during that time, I was home in 2019 as a result of my grandmom passed away, and my girlfriend was still in China. So at that point, I was starting my business online while my girlfriend was in China. Because COVID happened, I know I'm not going back to China soon. But my girlfriend is one of the most resourceful women on this planet, I believe. And we
She's
figured out a
awesome.
way, yeah, she is. And we figured out a way to get me back to China. Yeah, which later in that year in 2020, yeah, I returned back to China and I was like still young in my online fitness coaching business, but at that point I was at a crossroad. After going back and forth with my coach, I realized what I really want to be is to be a coach, because from my experience with my clients through fitness, I realized people needed me being there for them, guiding them on those calls, than they did needed me providing them, how many push-ups or how many pull-ups. And I enjoyed that segment even more. However, when I came to China at the end of 2020, I came as a junior tech engineer for Microsoft. So I had still had my tech background, and I figure, okay, if I'm gonna do my coaching business, might as well I do something I know I'm good at, so I can create that time. That didn't happen. When I started working, it was like chat 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 chat. But I spend a lot of time in the morning. I'm an early bird, as you know, and I was
Yes.
still doing that work, yeah, doing that personal development work, still trying to put some morning oil in on my business. And it came to a point where my girlfriend was still in another city. I was in Shanghai, she was in Haining, and she was
Mhm.
moving back to Shanghai. And she got a job here, so she was moving back. And I was thinking about, my future, my relationship, and the plans that we have together. And one of that was, to move to Korea and to get married eventually. And looking at my salary at my current job, I know that that wasn't gonna make the cut. Yeah, so being inspired by her, I decided, you know what, okay, let me really take, where I'm taking this relationship seriously. And I was at a point where I'm making a decision to give up my desire to do my own business. Because if I get another higher paying job, it means I'll have to commit more. And that's what I did. I applied for a higher paying job and I got the position. And
And
at that
then,
time, and then something fell through the cracks where the
oh,
employer told me that they won't be able to bring me on anymore. And at that point, I already resigned from my position. And there
oh,
was like 3 days before my resignation. And I was in limbo, like literally in limbo, because this team already had a send-off party for me. I already signed papers. I literally already resigned. Yeah, and I was
wow.
literally in limbo, not knowing what to do. But as you know, fall back to point one, have a coach. I was a bit prideful to an extent, but I know I needed help. Yeah, and I
Mhm.
reached out to the closest person who I had in my life at that point, who was really guiding me, which was Adrian Cahill. And I really just tell him about my situation, which is something that I don't usually do. Yeah, I'm the kind of person who would try to solve my problems by myself. And I did that. And we came up with a solution that actually helped me to be doing what I'm doing now. And it was one of the best thing that I can say happened. It was unfortunate, but it was one of the best thing that had happened because I already committed in my heart that I was gonna hang up this this desire to pursue a coaching business and helping other persons the way I'm helping them now. And then fate has its way of playing things out. It didn't work out it was supposed to, and now I'm here. Yeah, I'm here helping leaders, shine. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations again. I love seeing how you go in these um, difficult situations, but every single time you get out stronger, better, bigger, more impact for other people, how you're helping in this world. An amazing transformation. Congratulations on that. Now you're
Thank
doing
you.
what you're passionate about. And yes, I know you're an early bird. We sometimes text at 5 a.m. Messages. I also had the pleasure to work with you before. And I'd love to know what is one of your biggest client successes
Mm.
that makes you really happy or proud, that at the end gives you this extra energy and satisfaction of the job that you're doing.
Mm. Well, I must say there's this one client that I'm working with who's extremely amazing. This is an amazing woman. She's accomplished and she's competitive. Yeah.
Okay.
And she 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 don't think of herself as amazing as the way I'm describing her. One thing I've realized about a lot of high performing leaders is there's a lot of internal work to be done, especially when it comes to that of family. Yeah, and this one particular client was having a very difficult time, when it comes to having, certain conversations with our family. And in one of our recent sessions, she said this to me that she had a conversation with her grandma, and she said it was the lightest that she's ever felt, yeah, in that conversation. And that that sent chills through my body because I
Mm.
know how that was for her maybe a few months ago. Yeah, there was a lot of tension there, a lot of animosity, a lot of resentment. And for her to be able to be at peace with somebody who she should hold so much love for, it's that's one of the biggest wins. And I've seen this feeling of peace not only transition into her work life, but also in her romantic life as well. Yeah, and it's just amazing. One of the things that I've been, why I love coaching so much is that we get to identify the real problem. Yeah, not the problem on the surface. Maybe you have a client and they're struggling with their finance, but the real problem is the relationship that they're having with their kids. And to be able to really see these simple things and just tightening the screw a little better and to seeing them flourish on the other side. So I must say that that's one of my biggest achievements so far with my clients. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, thank you
And
for
I'm
asking.
happy that she has you having her back and supporting her there. Now, I mean, what I really love about you is you're always positive, no matter in which situation. You always have this attitude and the right words to like say good things, good wishes, the right motivational, inspirational words to people. And I think this is something that's really outstanding about you. Like the way how you
Thank you.
say it, you make everybody feel as if they were a superstar. I think this is one of your
Thank you.
favorite words. And it's something I really love about you, and I also appreciate about you. Coming to one of my last questions now, I actually would like to ask you, tell us a bit about your dream. One day we had lunch and you told me about that dream also related to, I think, maybe San Vincent.
Yeah, yeah,
Tell us a bit more about it. It really,
yeah.
really fascinated me, that
Mm,
purpose that you also seem to have in your life
yeah,
beyond of what you're doing right now.
yeah. Well, I'm happy that you asked this question. Growing up as a kid on the island, I never liked school, to be honest.
Who
I've
likes
always
school? I'm just kidding.
there were some aspects that I enjoyed, and as I get older, I found a bit more motivation in other ways. And you know, at this point in my life, as I said, I'm on a mission to make leadership sexy. And when I say making leadership sexy, I believe it's my mission to help high impact leaders achieve their highest level of joy, happiness, and fulfillment in their life. Yeah, I may label it as becoming a high performer, and that's how I label high performance. Living into your fullest and truest potential in life, not really competing with others. And one of my dream is to actually create a school on my island where I can, invite these high performers from time to time to share their knowledge and share their ways with the younger generation. I want to be more or less a filter through which these young leaders can be passing through. Because I've seen the role that a lot of leaders has played in my life personally, which led to me being here. Like me being here having this conversation with you, that's a miracle. That's mind blowing. Yeah, I grew up in a how to say, back home we'll say a village. Yeah, but we have concrete houses, not like the villages in that you see on TV. But I grew up where we didn't have water in the house. We didn't have electricity, candles and lamps. I see my granny use, and I can remember the first day I saw water come into my house. I would visit the public bar to take water back home so that we can have to bath and even cook. And there were days when sometimes we don't have bread for breakfast, and my mom would be creative. That's where I started. So to be here in China having conversations with a wonderful woman from Germany who's doing such amazing thing, it's certainly a miracle. Yeah, and I want to recreate that process for other potential young leaders on my island, and it's one of the reasons for the tribe that I'm creating. at this point. I'm literally recruiting for the future. Yeah, because once everything comes together as it should, I believe in faith and flow. And that time would come maybe at an unexpected as an unexpected circumstances. But when it do come, I want to make sure that I have these leaders ready to go to war. Yeah. And that is to create that school that would make a significant difference in the young leaders in my part of the world. Yeah.
Wow, good luck. I wish you all the best. But I have no doubt you're definitely going to achieve that. You're going to make this happen.
Mm,
And there's one thing which I've learned, like you, I also try to do everything by myself. And sometimes we got to ask for help, you also
mm.
mentioned, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what support would someone like you need to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill that mission and that dream, basically?
I think the support that I need most is guidance. Yeah, one of the things that I've been doing is connecting with mentors or persons who are already playing the game at an even higher level than I am. Yeah, I have yours truly, Adrian, and there are other persons I've been connecting with as well because I would love, I realize that I am still not there yet, and there's more for me to learn, more for me to know. Yeah, so one of the things that I do is to find mentors who have already done what I'm planning on doing. Yeah, to show me the way so I can put my foot in their footstep and even go even farther with this venture that I'm working towards. Yeah.
Mm. Well, I really hope you can find the right mentors and people to support you on this. Is there anything else you would like to mention to our listeners here from China and from the rest of the world?
Almost definitely, if you are a high impact leader, and when I say high impact leader, is that you have this burning desire to make a difference in the life of those you love and those you serve. And you need that additional support and help taking your personal performance to another level. I'd like to extend my invitation to you in joining my high performance leader movement. If you have not yet have that support, yeah, and if you're interested in that, you can go to levelupwithdeano.com. That's if you're outside of China, or you can just type it into WeChat, and most likely you'll find the article Level Up with Dino, and you can connect with me there. I'll certainly love to work with you. And as a coach, I don't look at this as a contractual exchange because I want to be your biggest cheerleader. I want to be your partner. And I truly love seeing when individuals are so burnt and inspired to help others. Yeah, I know Tony Robbins said the secret to living is giving. And that's not just about giving money, but giving of you, giving of being of service to others. And that's something that truly, lights a fire in me. Yeah.
You definitely made my day talking to you. Good luck on this. And I have to say, Dino is the best cheerleader you can have in your team. He is the best of the best cheerleaders ever. And he's definitely going to take you to the next level, making you a high performer and changing our world, not only St. Vincent. Thank you so much for your time, Dino.
Yeah,
I
thank
wish you
you.
all the best during the lockdown, and also say hi to your amazing girlfriend too. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks for being with us at From Shanghai to the World here. And if
Yeah.
you guys liked our show, why not share it to your friends? Like it, share it, spread it. If you know anybody who should have an interview with me, please connect them with me as well. And happy weekend, day, morning, evening, wherever you guys are. Take care. Thanks, Dino.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Have a wonderful day.